Hi guys, this is Angelique Gonzalez, and this is my Writing to Learn Journal number 5, chapter 5, on building prior knowledge. I have chosen a second grade fine arts take for this week. 2. Creative expression. The student communicates ideas through original artworks using a variety of media with appropriate skills. The student expresses thoughts and ideas creatively while challenging the imagination, fostering reflective thinking, and developing disciplined effort and progressive problem-solving skills. The student is expected to c. Identify and practice skills necessary for producing drawings, paintings, prints, constructions, and sculptures, including model forms and using a variety of materials. Building prior knowledge. Prior knowledge is the information and educational context the learner already has before they learn new information. A learner's understanding of educational material can be improved by taking advantage of their prior knowledge before dealing with the new material. Students come to the classroom with a broad range of pre-existing knowledge, skills, beliefs, and attitudes, which influence how they attend, interpret, and organize incoming information. When students' prior knowledge is accurate and appropriate, it will aid learning. But when students' prior knowledge is inappropriate or inaccurate, it will hinder learning. So, acquiring prior knowledge must come before acquiring new knowledge. Now, there are two main steps when building prior knowledge. Step 1 is judging whether prior knowledge is adequate, and Step 2, activating and adding prior knowledge. Let's take a look at these two steps a little more closely. Judging whether prior knowledge is adequate. When judging whether prior knowledge is adequate, we are judging two main things. We are judging what the writer assumes, and judging what the reader knows. Let's take a look at what the writer assumes. All authors make assumptions about what their readers are likely to know before they read. In my chosen teacher's case, it is the artist's assumption when creating the art for those who understand in some type of different way. But, regardless of how considerate the author or artist can be, there is always some sort of reliance on the learner's background. There is also no precise way to pinpoint that dependence, but there are guidelines that are useful when identifying that reliance. For example, like looking for a reference to previous materials, examining new vocabulary introduced. As an example of this, before looking at a painting or piece of artwork, introducing new vocabulary will help the students build new knowledge while using what they already know, to explain how the piece of the artwork was created. Another is look for references that are not adequately explained. An author or artist may refer to facts or ideas that were not previously introduced and may inquire additional explanation. In this case, asking the students to examine closely and if they see or hear something new when teaching them about the piece of artwork, and allow them time to learn, research, or ask questions about the new material. Judging what the reader knows. We examined some guidelines for determining the demands of reading selection or a piece of artwork makes on prior knowledge. Now, let's look at some methods of determining whether a student's prior knowledge is equal to these demands. Some guidelines that could help in this situation include free recall, word associations, structured questions, recognition questions, and unstructured discussion. What I would do personally when teaching the second grade art TEK 2C is use free recall, where I would give the students a new vocabulary word. For example, print. I would have them work in partners or in groups and to brainstorm ideas. I could ask them, talk with your group and discuss and come up with some ideas on what you think a print in art can be. And after going through each group's different brainstorming ideas, I would then have them learn about what a print is and then create their very own prints in class. I would also personally use structured questions and ask the student something like, what is a painting? Then, after introducing the idea of painting to them, I would also ask about different techniques of painting, and then gradually ask more difficult questions to gain knowledge on where to start teaching the art of painting, as well as using unstructured discussions and having students give me some of their very own experienced examples on things such as painting or printmaking. This will also not only give me a picture of what they have learned, but also the rest of the class. Activating and adding prior knowledge. Activating prior knowledge means that you are drawing out the knowledge that the student already knows. and adding to prior knowledge allows you to enhance your students' background knowledge and comprehend the subject better. Both have methods for doing so. For activating prior knowledge, you can review. By reviewing before learning a new topic such as sculpture making, you have students look back into the lesson on famous sculpturists and techniques in sculpture making before they create their own pinch pots or ceramic art. Another is quotes. A brief way to switch on appropriate schemata is to write an appropriate quotation on the board that pertains to the lesson at hand. This allows students to get in the mindset and get ready to dissect the quote before the lesson. In the TEKS case, you can definitely put a quote from a famous sculpturist about sculpt making or ceramic making. Finally, writing. This can be used as a means of clarifying one's thoughts about the subject. Whether it's before the lesson to learn, or the student is on the subject, or after the lesson to observe what the student learned, writing is a useful tool all around. When adding to prior knowledge, some techniques you can use are time order, compare and contrast, advanced organizers, anecdotes, analogies, marginalia notes, and props. Some I would personally use when teaching the Art TEK 2C are comparing and contrasting major thoughts, theories, art techniques, ideas, and different artists or pieces of work throughout time. I would also use props. Bringing in life-size paintings and personal art pieces created will help give a visual representation to students on the topic being learned. This has been my Writing to Learn journal on Chapter 5, Building Prior Knowledge. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.